Well, hello, everyone. My name is James Burgess, and I'm the author of the international best-selling book, Chaos, How Business Leaders Can Master the Power of Focus, and the founder of FOCUS31. And I have the pleasure of being on screen today with you with a good friend of mine, Larisa Makuch, to talk about how to stop falling off the wagon and go after your dreams. Larisa Makuch is the author of Stop Procrastinating Your Life Away and founder and CEO of Abundance Academy, which empowers business leaders to achieve their dreams with clarity, confidence, and conviction while trading stress and overwhelm for a rich and fulfilling life of purpose. After working with Larisa, many of her clients have leapt over the wall of inaction and just for a few examples, perhaps doubled their income in 5 weeks, closed 6 client deals in one day after just 15 minutes of mentoring, and experienced their highest monthly income month over month over month. Larisa is a trainer of NLP and hypnotherapy, as well as a consultant of the Proctor Gallagher Institute. Her work reflects her mission to positively impact more than 1 billion, that's billion with a B, people across the globe. In her downtime, you'll find Larisa creating magic in the kitchen, tapping into nature in cottage country, and living her active and best life with her husband and young son. Larisa, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to join us today to talk about how to stop falling off the wagon and go after your dreams.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, James, for having me.
It's seriously, it's an absolute pleasure. And you know, Larisa, as you're familiar with FOCUS31 and our planning and accountability system, it's at the core of everything we do is the idea of creating a synergy between the business owner, their business, and their business plan. And if you think of that as a Venn diagram, 3 circles, where the 3 circles intersect, we believe that's where the business dream resides. And so my first question I just want you to share with our audience is, I know people have great intentions and they still tend to fall off the wagon. What are your thoughts on why that is happening?
Yeah, great question. And I think so often we all have good intentions when we start a business, when we get into business, when we keep pursuing our business. However, when you lose sight of what it is that you want, I think so often that is one of the very first things that people tend to fall into. They don't intend to forget their dream or forget what it is that they're actually going after. But when you get into business, there are a lot of moving parts, a lot of moving parts. Thank goodness you help people coordinate those moving parts more effectively than they can on their own. However, when you're so busy running over here, running over there, running over here, and just managing and trying to juggle everything, you're not trained to be a juggler, and you lose sight of your dreams. You get caught up in the day-to-day trivia of what's happening, and you forget why you're even doing this in the first place. And so when you forget what you want, when you forget why you want it, that's the first big trap that people fall into. I think another big part of it is sometimes they have a plan, and I'm sure you've seen this a few times, but they don't follow the plan. They forget to look at their plan. So essentially 9 out of 10 times it's forgetting that will get you to fall off the wagon, forgetting your dreams, forgetting your why, forgetting to look at your plan and to actually follow it. And when you do something simple, like just remember and build those basic steps into your everyday, success will be inevitable. It's not about magical recipes. It's about doing the basics every day, reminding yourself to look at your plan, reminding yourself of your dream, reminding yourself of why you're doing this, and do the most important things every day. Boring, and it works.
Boring and it works. I couldn't agree more. And as I often share with our clients, there is no holy grail to business success. It is the consistency. It is the hard work and the rinse and repeat, time and time again, those things that are working and measure against those things that aren't to discover why. Thank you for sharing that. So, you talked about people making a plan. What are the triggers that have people pulled away from their plan? We understand they do it. What are the triggers for that happening?
Yeah. So a lot of times people think they know what they want, but as they pursue their plan, things are going to get tough. And what they think they want may not actually be what they want. So often we need clarity. We need crystal clarity on what we want. And we may take the first idea or the first random thought, and as we keep pursuing it, we may realize this is my mom's idea. That was my grandpa's idea. Oh, that's what that teacher said I should do in second grade. And you're not in second grade anymore, but you're taking other people's ideas or concepts of what you should be doing. Maybe you're looking at things from the media and you're stuffing your life and your dreams full of them. So I think the first thing that stops people to follow their plan is when it gets tough, it's not aligned and they don't have enough to sink their teeth into. They don't have a clear enough vision and it's not their vision. So they don't have enough buy-in in order to follow the plan. The other thing is they don't have enough discipline to follow the plan. We talked about, I just mentioned, you've got to follow the plan and do it every day. And that's a big word, discipline. And if you actually get very disciplined by about a very few things, right? You generally don't ask people to do a lot of things. What do you tell me every week, Larissa? Do less, do it better. Do less, do it better. Do less, do it better. And when you keep cutting, and have the discipline to follow through, not just on a lot of things, but on the important things, that is where mastery can happen. And so you can only follow your plan if you actually take the time to keep moving forward with those daily habits. They're not taught in school.
No, we know that for certain. And I might even add, do less, do it better, and do it first as well. I think Stephen Covey in his 7 Habits talks about putting the first thing first. And that is wise words for any of us as business owners.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen you work with clients, and it's really quite remarkable the way you're able to support and encourage and draw out, even more importantly, draw out of people what it is they really want to be about, what they really want to do. How, of their own accord, how would you recommend somebody go about it DIY? Or how could you, the absence of them being able to accomplish that, what would you do with them to help them discover their why?
First, I'd say breathe. Before you even try to ask yourself a question, I think just get yourself in a bit of a calm state. I think sometimes when we feel pressured to uncover something that's important or that may pave the path for the future, the heart might start racing and you may start putting a lot of pressure on yourself. But finding uncovering your dreams, your desires, start asking yourself, like, what do I want? What do I love? What lights my fire? And keep asking yourself, keep coming back to that every single day. When you look back in your history, look at some of the common things that led to you having joy in your life. And you're going to notice themes with certain aspects. So for me, one of my themes was I love to teach. Love to teach. And I started prepping my brothers and sisters for school. I was the oldest one, so I would create little phonics exercises for them. I'd teach them their alphabet. I'd force them to do these things as children. I wanted to assume the teacher's role right from that day. I taught my sister Ukrainian dance. I did a lot of things when I was younger with my brothers and sisters, but I couldn't help myself. I've been teaching since I was 14 in different capacities. As I stepped into adulthood, it was always every career I had, it was always about the educational component of whatever I was doing, whether it was sales, whether it was marketing, whether it was movement, whether it was business. Love that educational component. I can't not do that. And for me, being able to share information and help someone move forward lights me up like a Christmas tree. Now, traditionally, I thought I had to be a teacher. And my mom said, don't go into education, because if you start working with kids, you're not going to want to have your own. You're going to see them so many times and you won't want to have your own. So I didn't pursue the education realm. Yet part of me can't help but teach. I love teaching. I'm grateful I don't teach in the educational system. It's not what I'm built for, but I get to incorporate that love and that passion every day. And no matter what I do and what form it takes in the future, that will have to be something that I do in some capacity. It might look different from time to time, and it has evolved over time. But I know that for me, until I really looked at those common threads, I couldn't see what was most important to me. So using some information from the past to really reveal what lights you up like a Christmas tree. But you don't want to just repeat those things moving forward. You use those as themes. And then as you look at what you want to pursue, what you want to achieve, what you want to move into and grow into, you keep coming back to the question, what do I want? What do I dream? What do I desire? What do I want? What do I love? Where could I be if nobody would judge me? What would I want to do if nothing was good or nothing was bad? So keep asking that question or variations on that question. And you might need to ask it for a week. You might need to ask it for a month. You might need to ask it for a year. But have patience and have faith that the answer will come when you get quiet enough. And the problem is so often people don't take the time to get quiet. And so they can't hear the answers coming from within. They're waiting for everyone else to give them their answers. And that's what got them not knowing what they actually want in the first place. So really connect to those common threads, allow them to carry forward through your life, but you've got to start dreaming bigger, thinking bigger, having a higher and greater expression of yourself, because that is why God put you on this planet. It wasn't to just like check a box.
I love that because, my favorite quote is from Michelangelo, and I know you've heard it a zillion times. The greatest danger we all face is not that we aim too high and miss, but that we aim too low and achieve. And I'll argue that Michelangelo had it partly wrong. And I know this because I've met with more current day business owners than Michelangelo ever can. And my belief is that he's quite right for the first half. The greatest danger we all face is not that we aim too high and miss, but that we aim too low and we still miss. And so, yeah, I'm all for it. Just aim high. Don't evaluate. If you believe it, that's the first step. Just go after the dreams. I love it. And we've talked sort of circling around the idea of discipline and daily habits. And I know, like, you're quite remarkable. You offer a daily kickoff call for your clients every single day of the week. And I know you're heading to Saskatoon, and you're working on how you're going to actually live up to that experience with your clients. And I think the way you're going to do it is absolutely brilliant. And so I commend you for what you give to your clients to enable them to create discipline and daily habits every single day. What would you share with my audience in terms of what they can take away from you to create those same habits themselves?
Yeah, I think I'll just give you a little background on the morning calls since you mentioned them, but I used to give my clients suggestions and feedback and checklists of things to do. And I had one or two of them that might do them. And most didn't. They had great intentions, but then they'd come back the next week and they'd be like, oh, Larisa, I just didn't do it. And they'd feel bad. And I felt bad that they felt bad, but they're not getting the change that they're paying me to get them. And so I'm like, okay, well, if you're not going to do this, I things weren't working with the old model. So I said, I sense, my intuition said, I suspect they just don't know exactly what to do on their own. I know I give them a list, but I know I've always learned best when someone's walked me through, held me by the hand, and shown me how to do things. I am a great copycat. You sit me down, you show me, I can replicate, and then I can create my own thing from it. And so I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. For 1 month, you guys can meet me at 6:30 a.m. every day, and I will show you exactly what to do. And all they had to do was click the link to join Zoom. And I actually have clients that have joined me at 5:30 their time zone and 4:30 in their time zone. So these clients are extremely dedicated. All they have to do is click Zoom. And most of them before couldn't do their own little thing on their own. So what we do is I taught them how to start thinking, how to start making the material I teach come alive, how to start prioritizing, how to stay focused each and every day, how to connect to their dreams, how to let go of limiting beliefs. So we mix it up. We have a lot of fun. I know it's 6:30, but we're not dressed. You came on one of our calls and you showed up in a suit like that. Well, I'm in pajamas, so are they. This is not Instagram worthy call, okay? Great content, but we are in pajamas unless a miracle happens, okay? So, but we create magic. And so what happened is that they were like, wow, we are getting so much value. You can't stop doing this. And so for more than 2 years, going on 2.5 years, we've been doing these calls every single day. And they are absolute magic. And there have been a handful of times where I'm like, oh, why am I doing this? But 3 to 5 minutes in, I'm just like, oh my God, it's going to be so good. And it always turns out wonderfully. So I love, love, love doing them. Back to your original question, what are keys to creating disciplines and habits that lead to success? So don't try to do too many things at once. Sometimes we create a new idea and we try to do everything. Why did my morning success calls work for my clients? Because they only had to do one thing. The one thing I asked them to do was to click, go on Zoom, and join me at 6:30. They didn't have to think about what they were going to do. They just had to have their books and show up on a call. And so pick one, maybe two things that you're going to do and create a habit with. And when you do that and maintain that consistency, other stuff is going to naturally start working. There's a trickle effect. It's like the thigh bone's connected to the hip bone. Everything's interconnected in the universe, physically and energetically. And so pick one thing and do it. And then while you're really, and I would say if it was one thing that you did is keep your eye on the big picture and on your next step. And keep your eye on the big picture and your next step. If all you do is look back at your dream and your vision, remind yourself of what it is, and then what next step do I need to do today? What's my big dream and vision? What next steps do I need to do today? What's my dream and vision? What next steps do I need to do today? If that becomes your habit, that will get you further faster because you're doing something every day. You don't have to like it, and you remind yourself of the juice behind it.
Love it. And it reminds me of the words of the universe's most brilliant consultant and coach, Yoda, who, of course, in Star Wars 5 says, try not, do or do not, there is no try. What you're talking about is being consistently in action, where the action is building each time upon the prior actions that have been taken. And yet it's interesting because, you know, when you and I started working together, we went back and forth, back and forth. I'd reach out one more time and you'd say, no, not yet. And I'd reach out. It was like a tennis game or a ping pong ball going back and forth across the net. And then finally one day, boom, you dropped it on me and said, let's go. Out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere. And in fact, to make sure you didn't slip away, I dedicated my entire birthday weekend to getting you started into the program with us. What, in terms of, you know, the catalyst of action, you didn't, boom, you did. What was the catalyst for you, and how can the audience learn from that to ensure that they discover their catalysts and recognize when to take the action that needs to be taken?
I think it's a quote by Buckminster Fuller that says, when the old model isn't working, create a new model that makes the old model obsolete. And at that time, things had been working well enough, but there was something in me that was longing for stronger accountability, a partnership of some sorts. And it couldn't be someone that I was like buddy friends with. I'd been in accountability groups, but they kept letting me off the hook. They didn't hold me to high enough standards. And maybe that was partially due to me, but it just wasn't structured enough for what I needed. And I really, prior to that, intuition said, no, it's not right. I was like, maybe logically, but intuition said no. And that weekend, intuition said, call James, you got to do something now. And I firmly believe that when intuition speaks, like I jump on it. And I think we often need to jump on things before we second guess them. because that weekend, it was amazing. I feel so honored and blessed that you did dedicate that weekend to me. And it's very easy to ignore the whispers. Prior to that, the whispers weren't saying the same thing, but I was looking at my old model. I got quiet. I asked myself, like, what do I need now? And then James kept popping into my head. And I'm like, James, really? I guess I better text him. And then you came and it was great. And it's been amazing ever since. So I absolutely I can't emphasize how valuable it's been working. But initially it was that catalyst, and it was really listening to my heart that led to that decision.
Thank you for sharing that. And it really goes to, again, because you've referenced this a number of times, you need, when you're making decisions, you can't make those decisions in the midst of chaos. You need quiet. You need to allow yourself to calm and allow your unconscious and conscious play together to source the ideas that represent what is truly meant to be your next steps. And in chaos, that just can't happen. And so thank you for sharing your words of wisdom with our audience. For stop falling
Can I share one more thing?
Yes,
Sorry, just on
absolutely.
that thought. I
You
think
always do interrupt me, so please, it wouldn't be a day with you without doing that.
one distinction for business people, right? When it comes to that intuition, you can't find it through chaos. However, when you're in business, sometimes you can't just lean into intuition right off the bat. I think doing the homework, looking at the data, doing some research and looking at different options, great. You got to do the work first. You've got to check your numbers. You've got to actually have something concrete you can sink your teeth into and use your brain to observe. And I'm not even going to say overanalyze, but at least observe things and make some connections. But then when it comes to making the final call, you got to go through your heart. But if you just try to go to your heart having no basis or substance, you're not going to be able to make a decision that you feel good about. But the best decisions, those gut decisions, are when you actually have put in a little bit of work, when you have taken the time to think things through and say, okay, I've got a problem. I'd like a solution, and then let your heart lead you, because that's where you'll always get the best answers that come your way.
Fantastic.
Which was for me. Which might be James, it was for me.
And one of the keys for being in business is this idea of, it is understood that the strongest business operators, through history, have always made fast decisions and measured against those decisions. They weren't always the right decisions, clearly. They made fast decisions, measured against those decisions, and then were ready to adjust if the results didn't create what they were looking for from the decision that they made. And I find too many business owners, you're right, they sit and ponder waiting for the answer. It's the manner in which you go about gathering the data and then finding the quiet time to evaluate the data and allow the answers to come forward. And then when that answer comes, you got to go. You got to jump on it and then just measure the results it creates and make the decision, and determine was it the right or the wrong. And don't celebrate the wrong decisions. I think as Tom Peters says, that we should beat up on ourselves for mediocre success and celebrate the massive screw ups. I saw that I was watching one of his videos recently, and it just reminded me that mistakes are what allow us to learn. Without mistakes, we don't learn. So thank you for being with us today, Larisa, and sharing your thoughts on stop falling off the wagon, folks, and go after your dreams. For taking your time with us and having my audience listen to you, is there something you'd like to pass on to them, perhaps, that they can get more ideas from you through?
Yeah, I've got a free copy of the Stop Procrastinating Your Life Away book. Discover the secrets to more time, money, and freedom. All you've got to do is go to stopprocrastinatingbook.com and you can get access. So stopprocrastinatingbook.com, and you can read through it. It is not one of those books that you want to just flip through. You can flip through it once, but if you actually want to get value, if you actually want to stop procrastinating your life away, stop falling off the wagon and move forward in life, It's designed to be a workbook. It's designed for you to actually do the exercises. And when you do, you will have a world of difference that happens from when you start to when you finish. All you've got to do is pause and actually do the exercises. Just like when it comes to accountability, you've got to pause and do the next step. You've got to actually pause and do the next step. Otherwise, you just keep spinning on the hamster wheel, spinning on the hamster wheel. So if you're ready to stop procrastinating your life away, then stopprocrastinatingbook.com, and it will show you how to find, uncover, and pursue your dreams.
Folks, I encourage you to go to that website and get the book. I've had the pleasure of reading it. It's helped me, and it's a really sharp looking cover. I mean, this beautiful woman sitting on the cover, pointing to the ideas of just, stop procrastinating. It's just a wonderful message, and she presents it so well. Now, Larisa, in the event that people would like to connect with you and maybe talk about how they could be moving more into action, maybe getting into those morning calls at 6:30 in the morning, how could they reach out to you?
Best place is on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is awesome. We're there all the time, and just send me a direct message, send me a connection request, and we'll get back to you.
Okay, so it's Larisa, Larisa. Would you care to spell the last name so people can find you easily?
Makuch.
I did know that. I just wanted to have you say it.
It's good. It's good. And I'll make sure to send you the link, or you can find the link and your team can put it in the description of this video as well. So
cool. Thank you for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you, and look forward to doing this again someday soon. Perhaps you can be interviewing me, and we'll put me in front of your audience. Fantastic. Have a wonderful week and be brilliant.
Bye.